والاستقبال وإزاء الحقائق المطبوعة بالإقصاء وعدم المساواة في عصر عدم اليقين، تقف الجامعة كحارس للرجاء، مما يعني تعزيز القدرة على الحلم والمساعدة على التمييز والإصغاء إلى الأصوات التي تحيط بنا، والإصغاء إلى الزمن والتدخل فيه، والدفاع عن كرامة النساء والرجال والإيمان بقدرتهم على التغيير. في نشاطنا يقترن البحث عن المعرفة لتحسين حالة الإنسان مع التمييز الأخلاقي الذي يوجه إمكانية الاختيار والتصرف والعناية بالجمال والبادرات الجمالية التي هي أيضا بحث عن المعنى في العالم. وبالتالي أيها الأب الأقدس، في الرسالة العامة كن مسبحا، أنت تدعونا إلى التفكير في عالم واحد بمشروع مشترك ولقبول العالم كسر الشركة، وهذه يجب أن تكون خبرة وممارسة الأكاديمي. في الواقع يتطلب العلم والبحث الائتلاف المتبادل والقدرة على التحول والتجاوز في مشاركة جماعية وتعاونية. أن اقتراحنا غني بالقيم لأنه ينبع من الرؤية المسيحية الإنسانية للحياة، ولكن لتكريم هذا التقليد يجب أن نتحدى أنفسنا بلا توقف. إن الجامعة لم توجد لكي تحافظ على نفسها كمؤسسة، وإنما لكي تجيب بشجاعة على تحديات الحاضر والمستقبل. لذلك ستكون على الدوام مشروعا وليس عملا منتهيا أبدا. سيؤدي بنا بناء الحرم الجامعي الجديد فيريتاتي التابع للجامعة البرتغالية الكاثوليكية، والذي ستباركون حجر الأساس له، إلى زيادة فسحة الاستقبال في حرمنا الجامعي المنفتح على العالم وعلى الإصغاء والرجاء. وفي هذه اللحظة المهمة نريد أيضا أن نعلن عن ولادة قسم جديد يسمى اقتصاد فرانسيس وكلارا، والمكرس لقبول مبادرات جميع الكليات من أجل تعزيز مبادئ اقتصاد
for the generosity with which you inspire us in our mission. We pray for you. Thank you for your concern for the protagonists of the future, the young people who are gathering in Lisbon these days and from whom we will now hear some of their voices. Our Holy Father standing and now greeting the rector of the Portuguese Catholic University, Isabel Capeloa Gil. And here we are now hearing some testimonies. This is from Tomás Virtuoso. Holy Father, in my academic career, the Portuguese Catholic University has been a place of transversality of knowledge, in which everything is perceived as connected and interdependent. of renewed amazement in front of the beauty of created reality, whether in a mathematical equation or in a text of St. Augustine, and of a profound encounter with God, who sustains everything and gives meaning to everything. Much of what you propose, Your Holiness, in the encyclical Laudato Si, I was able to experience during these happy years as a student at the desks in the classroom or in the library, in the extraordinary experience of the country mission, and in the Economy of Francesco project, and finally, in the many friendships I have made here, which remind me that my life acquires purpose and greatness when it is lived with others and in service. It seems to me that my generation is being asked to not ignore the many insights that Laudato Si offers. In the first place, when it encourages us to increasingly apply the best science has to offer, to place our trust in the divine gift of reason, to continue to find effective solutions to the challenge that present themselves. Secondly, when it asks us to reject technological progress that does not have strong ethical and spiritual roots, that does not ensure respect for the inviolable dignity of the person and of all creation. Thirdly, when it leads us to the firm decision to live according to the demands of the common good, a foundational principle of the Church's social doctrine. Furthermore, when on the one hand it stimulates us to a conversion of life, and it encourages us to a more committed political and social participation, which focuses on the preferential option for the poor. Finally, when it encourages young Catholics of my generation to evangelize, to fearlessly affirm that an authentic integral ecology is not possible without God, that there can be no future in a world without God. Holy Father, in the 4th International Congress on the Care of Creation, with which the Catholic University hosted earlier this week, through the initiative of the John Paul II Foundation for Youth, we committed ourselves precisely to integral ecology, in a certainty that Christ, the living and true God, is the answer to a world that seeks meaning among the joys and pains of the present time. I have the joy of being able to deliver into Your Holiness's hands the manifesto resulting from our work on lifestyles for a new humanity. Thank you, Holy Father, for inviting us to be true worshippers of God, and in this way to live wisely, to think deeply, and to love generously. Thank you. This is Tomas Virtuoso. He's 29 years old. He was born in Lisbon, and he has a degree, or is working on a degree in economics at the School of Business and Economics. And he is also in his second year studying theology in the Faculty of Theology.
Santo Padre, reconheço hoje.
This is Mariana Cravero.
Converjo com os princípios para os quais Vossa Santidade.
Holy Father, today I joyfully recognize that my journey in this university converges on the principles towards which Your Holiness has summoned the academic world through the proposal of a global educational pact, and this is what I would like to focus on. I started studying at the Catholic University in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. In this context, the university, through the Catholic Solidarity Program, helped me understand the urgency of seeing the human person as a priority. And so I was able to lend a hand every week to serve meals to the homeless and needy in the heart of the city of Porto. However, this experience was only a starting point. It's the way God taught me that this welcoming service to the most vulnerable and excluded had to be a daily priority as a student, as a member of an outgoing church.
A Universidade Católica pôs-me também em contacto com a metodologia aprendizagem-serviço.
In recent years, I've collaborated with an institution that supports people with disabilities, and I've been able to see the impact of the hope and joy given and received. The Catholic University also put me in touch with the internship service methodology, which gave me a more inclusive understanding of academic themes and greater certainty about the civic responsibility that education brings with it. In this context, I volunteered in a prison psychiatric clinic. I dived into this project with head, hands, heart, and soul, and we managed to achieve high goals, making, for example, 28 prisoners with mental health problems recognize their potential and experience. The Freedom of Talents, the title I gave this project. I recognize that I have never lacked the contribution of the educational community with the conditions and tools necessary to be able to grow fully as a young person and as a woman. Therefore, I commit myself to being a link of reconciliation and peace in the service of the community, as Your Holiness never ceases to remind us or recommend to us. And I'm sure that God invites me to dream of my journey among the most excluded. As a future psychologist, my duty is to welcome everyone without discrimination and to accept others just as they are, regardless of the conditions in which they live or their past. Holy Father, I want to be a protagonist of change and not a young woman at the window watching the world go by. Professionally applying what I have learned to touch the most vulnerable and to help write new stories and paradigms for a more just and believing world. Our generation wants to be happy. I realize with joy that I am surrounded by young protagonists, enterprising, and ready to make noise with that enthusiasm, commitment, and hope that transform the world. We young Christians have a great desire to infect others and show them that it is worth taking a risk with God. Holy Father, I know that God is young, and I see Him every day in each of us. Thanks a million. Mariana Cravero, born in Porto, she's 21 years old. She holds a degree in psychology from the Faculty of Education and Psychology. From 2023 onward, she will be a student of the Master's degree in Psychology of Justice and Deviant Behavior. And she's given a gift of a cross to our Holy Father and receives in return the gift of a rosary. Now we should be hearing a choral presentation.
There's a place for us somewhere, a place for us, peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere.
There's a time for us, someday a time for us, time together with time to share, time to learn, time to care.
Somewhere we'll find a new way of living.
We'll find a way of forgiving.
There's a place for us, a time and place for us. Hold my hand and we'll
So not only hearing testimonies, we've heard a beautiful duet. Now we hear a testimony from Beatriz Ataide. Holy Father, good morning. I thank you for so many invitations to go deeper and carry out a mission together. Thank you for making us take new paths, provoking us to reflect, listening to us, empowering us, encouraging us, and placing trust in us, young people of the Economy of Francesco. My philosophical studies are at the culmination of a long process of discernment. Little by little, I realized that whatever vocational form my life might take, my desire to mature always has led me to take care of others. Specifically, I felt called by God to help lift hearts wounded by sin. So after my late conversion, I had various experiences that led me to conclude that it is from the field of culture that I feel called, that God will bless me in the field of culture. That's where I will discover myself and discover Him, and I will be able to take action. Like yeast in the dough, like salt of the earth, it is in the culture of the village, in the culture of the people, in the culture of the earth, with its songs that I want to find myself on the alert, and with the church in favor of a good and healthy culture. A huge confirmation of this is realizing that even before my conversion to the God of Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit was guiding me in this direction as a baptized person. And since that time, I have also remained very interested in the question of what it means to live and be a person, and also in the meaning of suffering. So philosophy emerged as the way by which God was enabling me to take on more care for my brothers and sisters, and for myself, for whom Jesus Christ suffers so much. I discovered the great dynamism that emanates from the study of philosophy to give prevalence to the virtues, but also to create bonds of friendship in the common search for the truth, which is Christ, and to fight against cultural uprooting. In the Portuguese language, we have an expression that we use when we want to help someone, chamar a razão, to make them think. What I want is that reason remain at the service of communion. So as a cultural agent in the broadest sense, I will find joy in bringing the art of contemplation among people. I want to help think and live life based on the principles of charity, peace, and truth. As St. Ignatius advises us, the commitment to the little, the small, and the possible is helpful. At this moment, I am committed to completing the philosophy course. The habit of prayer is essential for this, to grow day after day in trust in providence and in openness to the Holy Spirit. Many thanks. This is Beatriz Ataide, and she was born in Lisbon. She's 27 years old, and she is a member of the Economy of Francesco Hub in Portugal. And she attends the campus in Braga. And we have one more testimony here, a testimony of Mahur Kafashian. I am a student of dentistry in Viseu since September 2022, initially displaced from my country, Iran. I took refuge in Ukraine, where a real war made me feel like a survivor. But above all, I am a believer, and I owe my hope regarding the future to the extraordinary team of the Catholic University. They have taken care of me and continue to do so within the context of the Pope Francis Social Support Fund. I was not the same person I am now. If they had told me last year that I was a very strong person, I probably wouldn't have believed it, but now I do. After everything I've been through, after the constant feeling of being without a home, family, friends, after being left without a home, without a university, without money, I know that the concept of strength doesn't mean that I don't feel tired, exhausted, and broken down by grief and loss. It just means that I have the strength, faith, and courage to carry on. I feel proud to be here for a new beginning in this beautiful and welcoming country, actively participating in the life of our common home and studying, while I too try to sow love, hope, and faith around me to those who unconditionally offer me a culture of encounter in this university. There are no words to describe my feelings right now, but I am blessed to be able to be here, proudly speaking to you about the past, about my past, believing that better days will come. Thank you. As we heard, this is Mahur Kafashian, a native of Iran, 25 years old. She's a student of dentistry in the Faculty of Dentistry located in the Visio campus. So we've heard testimonies from all of the campuses. We should be hearing from our Holy Father now, the address that he has prepared for the university students, the Catholic University of Portugal, founded in 1967, the same year that Pope Paul VI visited Portugal. And we hear the crowds. Many of these students most likely also participating in World Youth Day. Our Holy Father will be participating in the welcome ceremony this evening. Dear brothers and sisters, good day, he says in Portuguese.
Gracias, señora rectora, por sus palabras.
Thank you, Madam Rector, for your kind words.
Ha dicho que
You
todos nos
said
sentimos peregrinos.
that all of us feel like
Una
pilgrims,
hermosa palabra,
and that's a beautiful
cuyo
word,
significado
one
merece ser
well worth
reflexionado.
reflecting on.
Literalmente significa dejar de lado la rutina cotidiana y ponernos en camino con un propósito, moviéndonos
To be a pilgrim
a través de los
literally
campos
means
o más allá de
to
los
put aside our
confines.
daily routine and to choose to set out on a different path, moving away from our comfort zone towards a new
En
horizon
el término
of
peregrino,
meaning.
vemos reflejada la conducta humana.
The notion of pilgrimage nicely describes our human condition, for like pilgrims, we find ourselves facing great questions that have no simple or immediate answers, but challenge us to continue the journey, to rise above ourselves, to press beyond the here and now. It's a process which every university student is familiar with.
Y así crece también la búsqueda espiritual. Peregrino es caminar hacia una meta.
A pilgrim moves toward a goal.
Siempre está el peligro
There's
de
always
caminar
the
en
danger
un laberinto.
of walking in a
donde no hay
labyrinth
meta,
where there's no goal,
tampoco hay salida.
and you'll never find your way out.
Desconfiemos de las fórmulas prefabricadas. Son laberínticas.
We are rightly wary of quick and easy answers. That's the labyrinth. Easy solutions that neatly resolve every issue without leaving room for deeper questions.
Como cartas de juego trucadas. Desconfiemos de esas propuestas que parece que lo dan todo sin pedir nada. Desconfiemos. La desconfianza es un arma para poder caminar adelante y no seguir dando vueltas.
Distrust never allows
Una de
us
las
to
parábolas de Jesús
take up
dice que el que encuentra
challenges.
la perla de gran valor es aquel que la busca.
One of Jesus' parables uses the example of a pearl of great price, which is sought and found only by the wise and resourceful, by those ready to give their all and who risk everything they have in order to obtain it. So they seek, they look, and they risk. And these are the two words that describe the journey of a pilgrim: to seek and to take risks. Pessoa once noted, ruefully but correctly, to be dissatisfied is to be human. We shouldn't be afraid to feel somewhat ill at ease in thinking that what we are doing is not enough. Feeling ill at ease in this sense, in the right measure, is a good antidote to the presumption of self-sufficiency and narcissism. Our condition as seekers and pilgrims means that we will always be somewhat restless. There's always something incomplete. For as Jesus tells us, we are in the world, but we are not of the world. We're called to something higher. We'll never be able to soar unless we first take off. We should not be alarmed then if we sense an inner thirst, a restless, unfulfilled longing for meaning and a future. And in order to do this, we have to always have access to our memory. We shouldn't be sick or lethargic, but alive. Especially, we should only be worried when we are tempted to abandon the road ahead in order to seek a resting place that gives the illusion of comfort, or when we find ourselves replacing faces with screens, the real with the virtual, or resting content with easy answers that anesthetize us to painful and disturbing questions. We can find this in any... there's always ways that we'll find out how to behave well. But these easy answers always drug us. Friends, I would like to encourage you then to keep seeking and to be ready to take risks. At this moment in time, our world faces enormous challenges, and we hear a painful plea of so many of our brothers and sisters. We're living a Third World War piecemeal. We're not experiencing the agony of death, but we're experiencing a process of giving birth. Not at the end, we're not at the end, but we're at the beginning of a great new chapter of history, so we need to have courage. So we need to work on a new choreography, one that respects the dance of life, by putting the human person at the center. And so your rector's words impressed me, especially when she said that the university does not exist to preserve itself as an institution, but in order to respond courageously to the challenges of the present and the future. Self-preservation is always a temptation. It's a knee-jerk reaction to fears that distort our view of reality. If seeds were to protect themselves, they would completely destroy their generative power and condemn all of us to starvation. If winter were to persist or never end, we would not marvel at the spring. So, replace your doubts with dreams. Don't remain hostage to your fears. Set about working to realize your goals. A university would be useless if it were simply to train the next generation to perpetuate the present global system of elitism and inequality in which higher education is the privilege of a happy few.
Si el conocimiento no es
Unless
acogido
knowledge is
como
embraced as a
responsabilidad,
responsibility,
se vuelve estéril.
it bears little fruit,
Si
it will
el
be
que ha
sterile.
recibido una instrucción superior
If
que
someone
hoy en
who has
Portugal y en
benefited
el
from a
mundo
higher
sigue siendo
education,
un privilegio,
which nowadays in Portugal
no se esfuerza
as in the
por
wider world,
restituir
remains
algo
a
de aquello con
privilege,
lo que ha sido
makes no effort to give
beneficiado,
something in
en el
return,
fondo no ha comprendido lo que se le ha ofrecido.
that person has not fully appreciated the value
Me
of the
gusta
gift
pensar que en el
received.
Génesis, las primeras
So I'm
preguntas que
thinking in the
Dios
book
hace
of
al hombre
Genesis, the first questions
son,
God
¿dónde
asks
estás?
are, where are
¿Dónde
you
está tu hermano?
and where is your brother?
Nos hará bien preguntarnos,
It
¿dónde
would be
estoy?
good for us to ask ourselves, where
¿Estoy
am
encerrado
I?
en mi burbuja? ¿O corro el riesgo de salir de mis
Am I
seguridades
trapped in my
para
own
ser un
bubble?
cristiano practicante,
Or am I ready
un
to take the
artesano de la
risk of
justicia,
leaving
un
my
artesano de
security
la belleza?
behind
Y también,
and
¿dónde está
becoming
mi
a
hermano?
faithful Christian,
Experiencias de servicio fraterno
working to
como la
shape
de
a
Misión
world of
País
justice
y
and
tantas
beauty?
otras
Or
que
again,
nacen en el ámbito
where is my
académico
brother or
deberían
sister?
ser consideradas
Experiences of fraternal service, such as
para quien pasa
Michao
por la
Pais and many
universidad.
others that arise within academic
El título de
communities,
estudio, en efecto,
which
no
ought to be
puede ser
considered
visto
essential for
solo como
those
una
attending
licencia para
university.
construir el bienestar personal,
An academic
sino
degree
como
should
un
not be seen
mandato
merely as
para
a
dedicarse a una sociedad
a
más justa, una sociedad más
license to
inclusiva,
pursue
es
personal
decir, más
well-being,
desarrollada.
but as a mandate to
Me han
work for a
dicho
more
una
just
de
and
nuestras grandes
inclusive
poetisas,
and very
Sofía de
truly
Mello,
progressive society. I'm told that one of your great
en una
poets,
entrevista
Sofia de
que es
Mello
una
Breiner
especie de
Anderson,
testamento a la pregunta
was asked in an
¿qué le gustaría
interview,
ver realizado
which
en
served as a
Portugal
kind of
en
testament,
este nuevo siglo?
what would you like to
Respondió
see
sin
Portugal
vacilar,
achieve in this
me
new
gustaría
century?
que se realizase
She
la
responded without
justicia social,
hesitation, I would like to
la
see the
disminución de
attainment
las
of social
diferencias
justice,
entre ricos y
the
pobres.
reduction of the gap between rich
Les
and
remito a
poor.
ustedes esta pregunta.
Allow me to put this
Ustedes,
same question
queridos
to you, dear
estudiantes,
students,
peregrinos del saber.
pilgrims of
¿Qué
knowledge.
quisieran ver realizado
What do
en
you
Portugal
want
y en el
Portugal
mundo?
to achieve?
¿Qué cambios?
What do you want the
¿Qué
world to
transformación?
achieve? What changes? What
¿Y de qué manera la
transformations?
universidad,
And
sobre
how
todo
can
la
universities,
católica, puede
especially the
contribuir a
Catholic
esto?
University, contribute to this?
Beatriz, Maor, Mariana, Tomás, les agradezco sus testimonios.
I thank you for your testimonies.
Tenían todo un tono de esperanza.
They all
Una
struck a
carga de
hopeful
entusiasmo
note.
realista.
They were full of
No había
enthusiasm
en
and
ellos
realism.
quejas,
You did
ni
not
tampoco
complain or escape
ilusorias
into
fugas
flights of
hasta adelante.
idealism.
Ustedes quieren ser protagonistas.
You want to be protagonists of change, as Mariana told us.
Como ha dicho Mariana, escuchándolos, he pensado en una
As I
frase que tal
listened
vez
to you, I
es
thought of a phrase
familiar
from the writer
del escritor
José de
Almada
Almada Negreiros,
Soñé
which
con un
may be
país
familiar to you.
donde
I
todos
dreamt of a country
llegaban
where
a
everyone was able to become a teacher.
También este anciano que les habla,
This
que
old
refirió
man,
que
now speaking to you
sueña
because I'm
que
old,
vuestra generación sea una generación de maestros,
also dreams that yours will also become a generation of teachers.
maestros en compasión,
Teachers of
maestros en
humanity,
nuevas
teachers of
oportunidades para
compassion,
el planeta y sus
teachers of
habitantes,
new opportunities for our planet
esperanza,
and its
y
inhabitants,
maestros que
teachers
defiendan
of hope,
la vida del planeta amenazada
teachers
en este
that
momento
defend
por una grave
any life
destrucción
that is
ecológica.
threatened right now, especially through
Como algunos de ustedes han
the ecological
evidenciado,
crisis.
debemos reconocer la
As some of
urgencia
you pointed out,
dramática de hacernos caso de la casa
we
común.
must recognize the
Sin embargo,
dramatic
esto
and
no se
urgent
puede
need to
hacer
care for our
sin una
common
conversión
home.
del corazón
Yet,
y un
this
cambio
cannot be done
en la
without a
visión
real change of heart
antropológica que está en la
and
base
of the
de la
anthropological
economía y de
approaches
la política.
undergirding economic and political
No nos
life.
podemos conformar con
We
simples
cannot be
medidas
satisfied with mere
o con
palliative
compromisos
measures or timid and ambiguous
En este caso,
compromises,
los términos medios
for halfway
son
measures
solo
simply
una
delay the
pequeña
inevitable
demora
disaster.
en el derrumbe. No olviden esto. Los términos medios son solo una pequeña demora en el derrumbe. Se trata más bien de
Rather,
hacerse cargo
it
de
is
lo
a
que
matter of
lamentablemente
confronting head
sigue
on
siendo postergado.
what sadly continues
Es
to
decir,
be postponed.
la necesidad
the need to redefine what we mean by progress and development. In the name of progress, we have often regressed. Yours can be the generation that takes up this great challenge. You have made the most advanced scientific and technological tools, but please avoid falling into the trap of myopic and partial approaches. Keep in mind that we need an integral ecology, attentive to the sufferings both of the planet and the poor. We need to align the tragedy of desertification with that of refugees, the issue of increased migration with that of a declining birth rate, and to see the material dimension of life within the greater purview of the spiritual. Instead of polarized approaches or creating polarization, we need a unified vision. Thank you, Thomas, for reminding us that an authentic integral ecology is not possible without God, that there can be no future in a world without God. In response, I would say, make your faith credible through your choices. For unless faith gives rise to convincing lifestyles, it will not be a leaven in the world. And it won't be enough for us Christians to be convincing. No, it's not enough for us Christians to be convinced. We must also be convincing. Our actions are called to reflect, to be joyful and radical, and witness the beauty of the gospel. Furthermore, Christianity cannot be lived as a fortress surrounded by high walls, a Christianity that raises the ramparts against the world. That is why I was moved by Beatrice's testimony when she said that it is precisely within the field of culture that she feels called to live the Beatitudes. In every age, one of the most important tasks for Christians is to recover the meaning of incarnation. Without the incarnation, Christianity becomes ideology. This is a temptation, ideological Christianity. It's a Christianity, a quote-unquote Christianity. It is incarnation that enables us to be amazed by the beauty of Christ revealed through every brother and sister, every man and woman. In this regard, it is significant that you have named your new academic chair dedicated to the economy of Francesco, also after St. Clare. The contribution of women is indeed essential, and in a collective consciousness, we've often thought of women as second class, as something supplementary, and that not giving them the role of protagonists. This is what's been happening in the collective unconsciousness. The contribution of women is essential. In the Bible, we see how the economy of the family is entrusted largely to women. They are the real heads of the household, possessed of a wisdom aimed not merely at profit, but also toward care, coexistence, and the physical and spiritual well-being of everyone, including the poor and the stranger. It's enthusiastic to approach the study of economics from this standpoint, for the sake of restoring to the economy its proper dignity, lest it fall prey to unbridled market speculation. The Global Compact on Education, with its 7 overarching principles, encompasses many of these issues, from caring for our common home to the full participation of women and the need for innovative ways for understanding economics, politics, growth, and progress. I encourage you all to study the Global Compact and to become passionate about it. One of the points it addresses is the need to educate about welcome or acceptance and inclusion. We can't pretend that we've never heard the words of Jesus in the 25th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. So I was moved as I listened to Mahur's testimony when she described what it's like to live constantly feeling the absence of hearth and home and friends, of being without a home, a university, or money, tired, worn, and beaten down by grief and loss. She told us that she rediscovered hope because she met someone who believed in the transforming power of the culture of encounter. Every time someone offers a gesture of hospitality, it prompts a transformation. Dear friends, I'm very happy to see that you are a lively academic community, open to the current reality, in which the gospel is not a mere decoration but an inspiration for your individual and collective efforts. I know that your lives are busy between study, friends, community service, civil and political responsibilities, care for our common home, artistic activities, and so forth. That is what it means to be a Catholic university. Each part is related to the whole, while the whole is to be found in each of its parts. As you acquire knowledge and academic expertise, you will mature as a person in self-knowledge and in the ability to discern the path of your future. Going on a journey, yes, but in a labyrinth, no. So carry on. A medieval tradition has it that when pilgrims on the Camino de Santiago met one another, they would greet each other by exclaiming, Ultreya, and the other would respond, Et Suseya. These expressions encourage us to persevere in seeking and in the risk of the journey, telling us to move on and aim higher. Go, take heart, keep going. That, dear friends, is likewise my heartfelt wish and prayer for all of you. The crowd now reacting to the discourse of our Holy Father. We also see here Cardinal Tolentino in the line here, the prefect for the Dicastery of Culture and Education. It would have been the former Congregation for Education that established the Concordat for the foundation of this university. And we'll now be praying the Our Father together. Here again we see the President of the Republic taking part in this event.
Comunión con toda igreja, oremos como o Senhor nos ensinou. Pai nosso, que estais nos céus, santificado seja vosso nome. Venha o nosso vosso reino. Seja feita a vossa vontade, assim como no céu. O pão nosso de cada dia nos dai hoje. Perdonai-nos as nossas ofensas, assim como nós perdonamos a quem nos tem. E não nos deixeis tentação, mas livra-nos do mal.
And now we'll be receiving the apostolic blessing.
Bendito seja o nome do Senhor. O nosso auxílio vem do Senhor. Abençoe-vos, Deus Todo-Poderoso, Pai, Filho Espíritu Santo. Amén.
And those here present now, about 2,000 present, with about 6,500 in another hall, being able to see what's going on with screens, now applauding, all on their feet. At the end of our Holy Father's visit here to the Catholic University of Portugal. Our Holy Father taking part in his first event today on this second day of his apostolic visit, once more greeting the rector of the university. Our Holy Father now beginning his way away from the stage here, as we once again are able to enjoy the music being offered. Holy Father now in his wheelchair taking his leave. Our Holy Father here in Portugal on the second day of his apostolic journey. He will be driving by car now about 35 kilometers to Cascais, where he will visit the headquarters of Escolas Ocorrentes, and as we heard earlier, he is now blessing the cornerstone of a new faculty being opened. The faculty of, or the chair, excuse me, of the economics of Francis and Claire. Actually, it's the cornerstone of the construction of the new Campus Veritati that he just blessed. So at this time, we take leave of you. We hope you join us. We'll be back again live with our continual coverage of the Holy Father's trip to Portugal. He'll be appearing at the headquarters of Escolas Ocorrentes in about 20 minutes. But I also invite you to visit the Vatican News web portal, our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter accounts. You'll find continuous coverage of all of Pope Francis' events during his apostolic journey here to Portugal, as well as coverage of other Vatican and world news. On behalf of Vatican Media, thank you to our audio technician, Daniele Giorgi, and to our coordinator, Alessandro Di Carolis, and to all others who've made this broadcast possible, especially our media partners, EWTN, Shalom World TV, Shalom TV India and Sunday Shalom at Madarshan TV, Salt and Light Media, Catholic Faith Network, Catholic TV, and Uganda, Catholic Television, and Radio Maria, Papua New Guinea. Let's keep these young people in our prayers, especially all those who have gathered for World Youth Day. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
Sem ter dúvidas de sua missão, Maria tão jovem, depressa deixou sua casa e pela montanha subiu para ver. não mais deixaremos de amar.